Hey, what's up guys, this is Oakley and I'm going to be doing a battle. You can see we're going to be back in the Napoleonic era, excuse me. I'm going to be the Ottoman Empire. Let's zoom out so I can show you what exactly is going on. I'm starting to get shelled from the French artillery position over here. So obviously my opponent has chosen the French and he's going to be setting up in a very defensive formation with two batteries of 6-inch howitzers right there. And he surrounded himself with stakes and now his voltigeurs are going to be redeploying. So I have been the Ottomans, and this battle, the Ottomans are mostly tuned for the attack, especially with the composition that I have. So he's going to start shelling these positions where he knows I have some troops hidden in the woods. Although I did pull some of them back earlier in the battle. I skipped over most of the early stuff because it was just me advancing. Anyways, if we want to look on the map here, I'm pretty well split up over on the southeast corner, at least in the map's frame of reference. I'm going to have 4 line infantry, and then I have a couple skirmishers moving up with them. My general is in the rear. From a distance, you can see him there behind the lake. And then where my camera angle is, I have some of these Janissary troops that I've upgraded. So these guys are going to be pretty good for getting up close into the, chopping distance of the enemy. And then I have a couple more of them, actually, in different parts of the map back there. But I wanted to point out I do have 2 of these mounted Nizam, and these are Nizam 1 Sedit. I always thought it was Nizam I Sedit. It's 1 Sedit. It is the number 1. So I did look up a little bit of the history of those guys. Pretty interesting. But yeah, they're positioned on this flank. And I'm going to be trying to encircle the French legions who are out here, out in the middle of nowhere. And you can see him, he's going to be redeploying. He has a lot of these Swiss foot troops who are very good troops. We can go ahead and actually minimize, if not outright, ignore the map, because it's basically going to be my opponent defending and me coming at him from all angles. So he's going to set up a nice line of skirmishers right here. And with the sandstorm that's blowing, he is not going to get a good view of what's coming at him, but he does see in the distance a lot of infantry columns coming, and then you can see some sort of fighting line sort of coalesce in the distance. So a very ominous view, but at least they do have some batteries in the distance who can cover them. So 2 of them here. The other one is going to redeploy to face me. That's a good move. And he's going to start to push out. And look at this, I have all my lines of Nizam 1 City light infantry pushing up, and I'm going to start to get some initial shots off at him if he gets too close. But yeah, I'm going to be poking and probing with these guys. I know it's going to basically prompt a reaction from his cavalry, so I have some guys nearby to try and help me out. So here come my Janissaries and line infantry to try and support that position. And I'm also going to be pulling up 2 of these Janissaries. These guys are the guys with the swords. In front of them, Palestinian auxiliaries are very cheap troops, and they're going to be fodder to make room for my, cutting edge of the sword right there, which are these guys. They already have good stats, and when you veteran up something twice, I believe it gets more melee bonuses. So they're going to be moving up. He's going to be shelling all of my positions, some of the shots falling short, but now I'm going to be moving in and just shredding these initial voltigeurs who are up front. And yeah, they took a lot of damage, and now they're going to start returning fire, I believe. Yep. So here they go, they're going to start reforming and lining up, and some of the shots are going to start raining down on me. You can see my morale starting to drop just because of the counter shot, so I'm going to start falling back, or at least, yep, just falling back and reforming so I don't get quite shot up as much by 2 of his guys. He's going to come in with some cav, that's what I'm going to pull up and move in with my hidden cavalry on that flank, try and catch him on the side. Over on this position, I'm also going to be lining up. Let's take a look from this perspective. And we're going to start to line up for the assault here, but over on the right side, you can see he's going to be swooping in for a flank attack. So I'm going to pull back immediately. He's shelling me, doing a lot of damage with his troops up front. Actually, I just lost 5 and 11 men right there, so I'm going to fall back to the support of my guys. And he didn't quite expect to have my guys run up to the top of the hill. And I don't think they're going to get quite some shots off, but they're going to ward the French, kind of cordon them off into the area where I want to get them killed. And here's a noble charge from the Chasseurs à Cheval. So they're going to move in, get some early shots, but then they're going to run into the sturdier line of my guys in the back. So you can see my troops trying to rally and reform behind my guys. And my opponent is going to be faced with the square, so we do have these tactics. Let's see some of those views. So we're going to be able to ward him off as I continue to fall back and just lay some really devastating fire on the French as they reform and are forced around our line. And I had some more hidden guys there anticipating this kind of tactics from him. I had hidden some of my troops back here, and now they got some nice firing shots. So this guy is going to be actually going after my general, so he's going to scoot on out of there. And my opponent is going to start targeting this front because this is where I'm going to be pushing up. His guys are now kind of exposed and out of position, so I'm going to move back up with my infantry, hoping my opponent is distracted enough to the point where I can move in with my cavalry. And I'm going to move into position to get those guys as my opponent is focused on his micro over here. But look at this, some pretty devastating shots coming in. Yeah, I really do like the The visual effects of Napoleon, it's so great. The explosions are awesome, and you can see the toll that it's taking on my men. A lot of them are dead and dying, but that's why I'm coming in with the support, moving all these guys into the front. And now you can look, this is going to be the main hitting block. I want to have all of his forces engaged, come in with these guys, and then over on this flank you can see I've just torn into his sides with my Nizam-e-Sedid, the mounted troops. And he does have some returning fires. You can see some of my men going down, but for the most part I'm going to get the initial volleys, be able to counter-attack him with a couple more shots, and now he's going to charge into me. So I'm going to leave one of my horsemen back here, accept that melee engagement, and so it looks like I will probably win that fight, although on the charge they did a lot of damage. So continue to get some shots off. His own men shoot into the backs of his guys, so I should be winning that. But I'm going to go ahead and pull off with the rest. I don't think I can tango with this Polish Legion, who already has good stats, and they're going to be laying on some fire on my guys. So that's going to force back my hand on that side, but it's drawing off a lot more troops from his main line and the main assault. He pushed these guys way too far up, so I moved up really aggressively. So we can watch this line and look at the arcing shots going over. Some of them going too far, some of them going too short. And he's going to be hitting some of his own men actually, but here we're going to be pressing the assault. Let's go ahead and watch the best part of the assault, which is going to be my shock troops getting ready for rolling up the French flank. I'm going to time that with an assault from my guys here, but I have had to pull my general back here because the opponent was coming in with his own cav. I think, yep, I was able to shatter that cavalry, I believe. Yeah, the cavalry who were behind my lines basically chased my general. I pulled him over here, turned my infantry around, and got some shots on his cav. So that ended them. My general is up front in the action, so I was worried my opponent would target with his artillery, but he's still shelling. I think some of my retreating troops are still being targeted, but now he lands some really devastating blows. Look at this. Some of my guys left over in the crater, but that's fine. These guys are just meant to absorb, and so let's watch some of their charge. And yep, there we go. Outright just shattered, but that's fine. You're going to see what's going to be coming up in the wake behind them. My reserve lines of troops and also my swordsmen, and they have a big old flank opened right up to them. I'm going to go ahead and reform, pull them back just because I don't want them eating up too much fire, and I saw the artillery was targeting them. That's something you want to do. Artillery or target where troops are going to be, so you can fake them out. If you see they're going to fire, then all of a sudden change position. And that's what I did to avoid taking too many hits. Now I'm going to engage my mainland that will not hold up outright, but that's fine. I'm just going to pour in my Janissaries, one of them at a time. Let's watch the first charge into the French. So we're going to cut these guys to pieces. Yep, they don't even stand up. I don't think I lost a single man, at least just yet. And you can see some of the animations driving the swords through the Frenchmen. And now they're going to be pouring forwards into the line. I know this guy is going to be taking a lot of fire, but that's kind of my fodder force. Some cannon shells landing point blank in front of them. And they're going to lead this charge. Volleys going over their heads. But I'm right up front into the cannons now. And if I can break through this, I can take out his artillery. Over on this front, he's continuing to shell my positions. I'm holding back for the time being. It looks like he's mopped up most of my guys over there. I believe my cavalry was pulled back in the distance. I'm not quite sure where they went. I think I reform them later and bring them back into the fight. Okay, now I'm going to be targeting the French line, and I focus fire on certain parts of his line. I wanted to break certain contingents because he does have some Swiss foot who are good. But if I can knock out the other guys before these guys could even start to get their killing power, that'll be to my advantage. And he's going to be marching forward with his Swiss foot. I believe they are on a wrong attack order. But yeah, they're going to be taking a lot of close order fire. My infantry is not the best, but when given these targets, yeah, they're going to perform super well. So his main line is going to be crumbling. However, he does have this Swiss foot that is very, very strong. And here comes my reforming cavalry back to join the front. And this is why I didn't commit all of my Janissaries. I sort of targeted his exterior groups and then fell back and have some fodder guys in the front because I knew he would have enough to reform to just obliterate my guys. So I'm going to wait for that and just see how much damage this guy can do. So here goes my guys charging the cannon men. And this is going to force him to commit to this fight. He's going to charge into my cavalry. I'm going to pull back into this square. It's going to be a pretty noble charge. He's going to pick off some of my men, start to break up my square. I'm going to be able to reform and push this back. And at least the cannon fire has been silenced, so you know, a couple good hits would knock out the entirety of my group right there. And he is getting some crossfire on the rest of my lines, but I am going to be able to survive this. I have more guys back here able to return the fire, and these are the Palestinian auxiliaries who came back from the fight. And then now I'm going to commit my two major blocks of troops. So let's watch this from the French angle as they try and get the rest of their shots off. That is a very, very intimidating sight as you're trying to load your gun. Can you imagine that? Reload rates are dropping, and yep, they're going to go ahead and I believe form up in the square. That's a good way to take a melee engagement, but here comes the line coming at you almost in slow motion. And there it goes, sabers flashing in the light, and they're going to cut through this line. If he had some inflating fire, some shots from the side, if he had more troops, oh, he could have perfect targets. If these cannons could retarget my guys, they would do a lot of damage, but that's why I'm going to be moving in with everything to try and knock them out. My general even is going to try and shoot the gap and scoot into here, but this is going to be it for the remaining French troops. I've been able to effectively neuter all of them. Swiss foot, who were committed to that side, took forever to get back in line. I'm going to go ahead and just take them out. Over here, continue to get some shot from everyone is going to obliterate the French there. And now this line here, as it retreats from my swordsmen, they're going to get cut down and then shot in the retreat. Some of his cannons are getting some nice volleys into me before they die. And here comes one of my officers actually taking out the Frenchman. Yep, so here we go, we're going to reform, we're going to come right after the cannons, but I think this should be it for the battle. I'm going to charge from one side into his cannons, and then from the rear, my general is going to be reforming, and he's going to try and, thread the gap, coming right through here. So my guys did very well, actually, and I was left alive with a lot of forces. This is something in Napoleon that you learn is being on the defensive is never really that good, at least on open ground. If you can get a hill and camp it, then yeah, it's definitely to your advantage. But in these types of positions, it's the armies with mobility that will win, and that's something that was proven true in Napoleon's campaigns and I see online. Anyways, hope you guys did like this throwback video to Napoleon, and I will hopefully be having another one where I do a naval battle. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.